it deep. McCord caught at the 40-yard line. Maserati Marv. McCord will let it fly over the middle. Caught. Harrison. Touchdown.
I'm Alex Johnson. This is Yards Per Fantasy, and today we're talking Ohio State wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. We're going to dive into his background and college career, discuss the positives and negatives in his prospect profile. How high should you draft him in rookie drafts? Is he the 101 even in Superflex leagues? Is he the greatest wide receiver prospect of all time? Let's find out. Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver from Ohio State. He's a junior. He's just 21 years old. He's listed as 6'4", 205 pounds. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the son of Pro Football Hall of Fame wide receiver Marvin Harrison. He spent the final 3 years of his high school career at St. Joseph's Prep in Philadelphia. There he racked up 2,625 receiving yards and 37 touchdowns while helping lead his team to 3 consecutive state titles. And that helped him earn a 4-star recruiting grade and offers from a ton of schools like Arkansas, Baylor, Florida, LSU, Michigan, and others. Marvin Harrison Jr. ended up committing to Ohio State, where he was joined by high school teammate and quarterback Kyle McCord. In his true freshman season, Marvin Harrison played sparingly behind a star-studded trio of Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. But the depth chart opened up in 2022 with both Wilson and Olave heading to the NFL, and Jackson Smith-Njigba missing most of the season with an injury. And Marvin Harrison took full advantage, catching 79 passes for 1,295 yards, and his 14 touchdowns ranked 3rd in the nation. That was enough to earn unanimous first-team All-America. He was also a finalist for the Biletnikoff Award. He fell just short to Jalen Hyatt. I imagine that'll be the last time Jalen Hyatt ever wins anything over Marvin Harrison Jr. But in 2023, Marvin Harrison Jr. became the first wide receiver in Ohio State history to record multiple 1,000-yard seasons. He did that while tying a school single-season record with 8 100-yard performances. And the result was 1,237 yards, 15 touchdowns on 69 receptions. Nice. And he was once again a unanimous first-team All-American and a Biletnikoff Award finalist, this time taking home the title. He was also a finalist for the Heisman Trophy, but he finished 4th in the voting. So let's talk about the positives, the things that we like in Marvin Harrison Jr.'s profile. The first is his route running. He's an excellent route runner. He's got great ball skills, exceptional body control. He's great in contested catch situations, and part of that is because he has great hands. Marvin Harrison Jr. has good speed. I mean, he's not an elite burner, but he's got plenty of speed. He's got good acceleration. He gets up to that top speed very, very quickly. He averaged 5.6 receptions per game in 2023. The threshold I look for the elite level is 6. If you round up, he gets it. He also averaged 3.04 yards per team pass attempt. About the high 2.9s is the elite threshold that I look for here. So Marvin Harrison Jr. easily clears that. And then he accounted for 53.8% of Ohio State's receiving touchdowns in 2023. This is phenomenal, but I probably don't have to tell you that. And then he had a 44% dominator rating. Dominator rating tells us how much of the passing offense a wide receiver accounted for. 30% is the baseline threshold for good. Anything over 35% is elite. I wouldn't expect anything less from Marvin Harrison Jr. Big check mark here at 44%. I also like that he had a rushing touchdown in 2023. This isn't a huge deal, but I'd like to see guys get the ball in their hands in more ways than one, whether that's returning kicks or taking handoffs. Just another indicator of athleticism and playmaking ability. And finally, he was an early declare. There is a good correlation between guys who leave school early in NFL and fantasy football production. Another box checked from Marvin Harrison Jr. On the negative side, Marvin Harrison Jr. has a little bit of a thin frame. I mean, he's tall, but he's skinny. He can also afford to improve and expand his release packages. He's inconsistent versus press coverage, and he's not a threat after the catch. But before we get into my NFL comp and my draft projection for Marvin Harrison Jr., I just want to make sure that you're aware that you can go and draft these rookies right now. You don't have to wait for your rookie drafts. Underdog Fantasy makes it possible to draft these guys today. Go draft Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors or Brock Bowers. And when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, use promo code YARDSPER to get a $100 instant deposit match. And I'll probably see you to draft him because I'm already drafting 2024 teams. The archetype for Marvin Harrison Jr., he is a possession wide receiver. My NFL comp for him is Justin Jefferson. Quite the compliment. We know what Justin Jefferson has done in the early years of his career. I would not be surprised if Marvin Harrison Jr. gets off to a similar start as Justin Jefferson has. But let me know in the comments, do you think he's the next Justin Jefferson? Who would your comp be? And don't forget, while you're there, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more of these rookie profiles coming, and I bet you don't want to miss them. And for draft projection, I expect Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to come off the board inside the top 5. If he falls outside the top 5, it won't be very far. The bottom line is, Marvin Harrison Jr. is about as close to a can't-miss prospect as it gets. He's an exceptional route runner who commands targets, and he has the versatility to line up in multiple positions across the formation. His top-end speed and his impressive acceleration make him a dangerous threat on vertical patterns, but what makes him special, though, is pairing that athleticism with incredible ball skills, body control, agility, and natural instincts to make an all-around dominant playmaker who wins in all quadrants of the field. Marvin Harrison Jr. uses his 6'4" frame to its full advantage, tracking the football, adjusting to the football, and attacking the football at its highest point, making him almost impossible to defend in contested catch and jump ball situations. There are only a few very minor things to point out on Marvin Harrison Jr.'s profile as areas for improvement. While he is fast off the line of scrimmage, he could still improve and expand on his release packages and techniques. And he's also inconsistent for his press coverage. Some of that is due to his thin frame for his height. Some is just lack of experience against tight coverage. And lastly, outside of speed and a little bit of wiggle, Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't really present much of a threat after the catch. I mean, he'll burn you if you give him some space to work with, but once you get hands on him, he's pretty easy to take down. But other than that, Marvin Harrison Jr. checks all of the boxes, both from on tape and from an analytical perspective. He is everything NFL teams want in their top wide receiver. He's going to be deployed as the team's alpha, lining up at X, but also getting work from the Z and the slot positions as well, which will make him a matchup nightmare and a headache for defenses to keep track of. He's going to command a high volume of targets from day one, and whoever drafts him is going to be expected to deploy him as their wide receiver 1 from the second he steps on an NFL field. He is that good. Marvin Harrison Jr. will be a top 5 pick in the 2024 NFL draft, and it's very possible we see him inside the top 3, and number 1 is not out of the question. In Dynasty, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the locked-in 1.01 in single quarterback leagues, and he's a top 3 pick in Superflex.